Every year at Easter, billions of people around the world, they remember the story of a man who died and rose again 3 days later. That's right, Jesus Christ. But what if that story wasn't original? What if there's a resuscitation story that happened 2,000 years before the birth of Christ? So recorded on clay tablets over 4,000 years ago, this is before Rome, before Greece, there's a tale of a really powerful figure who descended into the land of the dead, was killed, hung on a hook, and returned to life 3 days later. But the most surprising part about this story, it's that the person who died wasn't a man, it was a goddess, and her name was Inanna. To understand this story, we need to travel back to ancient Sumer. This is the oldest known civilization on Earth, around 2,000 years before Christ was born. The Sumerians are the ones who invented writing, they built the first cities, and they used to record their myths on clay tablets. So this is how we have this tale. And one of the most famous figures in their mythology was the goddess Inanna. She ruled over love, fertility, war, and power. She was known as the Queen of Heaven. But one day, Inanna made a decision that no god had ever dared to do before her. She decided to descend into the land of the underworld. And in ancient mythology, the underworld wasn't a place of punishment. It was basically a place where everyone who died went to. Kings, rulers, everyone. No one really came back from this. So before leaving, she told her servant a warning: if I don't return in 3 days' time, go get the gods and tell them to help me. And then she went on her journey. And in order to reach the underworld, she had to pass through 7 gates. And at each gate, a guardian demanded something from her. She was stripped down of identity and ego at each of those gates. And by the time she reached the 7th gate, the Queen of Heaven stood completely naked and powerless. And she entered the throne room of the Queen of the Dead, and the judges of the underworld looked upon her, and they pronounced their verdict: death. Inanna was struck down, and her body was hung on a hook. And for 3 days, she remained there. And then something unexpected happened. The gods sent help, and whoop, alive she becomes again. She rises. And the goddess who had died in the underworld returns to the world of the living. Sound familiar?